few weeks ago, I posted a picture on Facebook with some ingredients for my homemade Caesar salad dressing. And I got a whole bunch of people requesting the recipe and saying, "Hey, Cal, can you show us how to make that dressing?" So I'm having a steak dinner tonight with drop biscuits and Caesar salad. And I thought I'd show you how to make that dressing along with some homemade croutons that are absolutely dynamite. So here's what you need to put this great dressing together. 1 clove of garlic, half a teaspoon of anchovy paste, 1 tablespoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice, half a teaspoon of capers, half a teaspoon of Dijon mustard, half a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, a few dashes of Frank's hot sauce, half a cup of mayo, a 1/4 cup of freshly grated Parmigiano cheese, and half a tablespoon each of avocado oil and extra virgin olive oil. And then, of course, some salt and freshly ground pepper. So, how does this all come together? Let's look. Start off with mincing up the garlic. Peel that outer skin off. Discard it. Cut away any little hard bits. Into the bowl. Next, we'll take our capers. We'll do a half teaspoon of capers. Now, the recipe that I originally found just says to put these in whole. I prefer to mince them all up instead of getting big chunks of capers in the salad. So just with your knife, just very quickly chop them up. The capers add a really nice, salty, briny flavor to the dressing. Next, we're going to do our tablespoon of lemon. Half a lemon will get you about 2 tablespoons, which is twice as much as you need. However, what I find is I like to put the other tablespoon directly on the lettuce after it's chopped and before I serve the salad. Do the Dijon mustard, which is half a teaspoon. And these are approximate. I don't get really hung up on making sure it's exact. Next, we'll put in the anchovy paste. And some people go, "Ooh, anchovy paste, ooh." But again, this adds that saltiness and another slightly different flavor profile. It's not overwhelming. You don't actually taste it, so most people really enjoy it. Most people don't even know it's in there. Half a teaspoon of Worcestershire. Some Frank's. I give it a good few dashes. I like it a little spicy, a little hot. Once you have all those ingredients, just quickly whisk them up, like so. Now what you're going to do is add your mayo, your oil, and your cheese. So we'll do a half a cup of mayonnaise. And you can use any type of mayonnaise that you like. If you have a vegan mayonnaise, organic, whatever it might be, they all taste great. I prefer Hellmann's. There we go. Just throw that in there. Make sure you get all that lovely goodness. There we go. We'll add half a tablespoon each of avocado oil and extra virgin oil. Like so. And then some Parmesan cheese. Now the recipe calls for a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. I always like to grate more, an extra, so that I can put on the salad after or when I serve it. There's a 1/4 cup. The rest we're going to put aside. I'm actually going to grate up a little bit more for the salad. Mix this all up. And get a really nice creamy Caesar salad dressing. Add some pepper, a little bit of salt, Oh, that's good. So you can see this is really quick to make. I can usually make it in less than 10 minutes. That includes the setup, the putting everything together, and the cleanup afterwards. So quick and easy to make, and way better than any canned or jarred Caesar dressing that you can buy. Caesar salad just isn't complete without really good croutons. So here's a recipe on how to make homemade croutons that'll knock your family's socks off. Okay, to make your croutons, just simply cube some bread. You can use a slice of regular bread. You can use crusty bread. If you've got a leftover hot dog bun or hamburger bun, you can use that too. It doesn't really matter. You're going to mince up a clove of garlic, take off a hunk of butter, and then some extra virgin olive oil. So start off by heating your pan. Add the olive oil and the butter to the pan. You're going to heat this to medium-low. You don't want your pan to get too hot, otherwise the croutons will burn. You can break up the butter to make it melt a little faster. Once it's melted, you're going to add your garlic. Let that sit in there for a minute or so at that medium-low heat, and that's going to bring the flavors of the garlic out. Now we're going to add our bread into the butter and oil mixture, and very quickly toss the croutons in the butter and oil so they get coated and hopefully evenly coated. If you're fancy, you can toss them like that. I'm not particularly fancy. And now we're just going to let them cook for a little bit until they get a little bit brown on all sides. As you see them get nice and golden brown, just turn them over, flip them over. Use a pair of tongs for this. So it's a little labor intensive, but boy, the end result is so worth it. I'd never buy store-bought croutons ever again now that I make my own. I always add a sprinkle of seasoning salt to the mix. That once again just adds a little more flavor to the croutons. One of the things to consider when you're making your croutons is to use a pan that's large enough so that all the croutons are spread out evenly throughout the pan. Now once they're finished like this, so they're nice and golden brown, just turn the heat off, take the croutons off the heat, and then let them cool. And what I usually do is I put them onto a plate as soon as possible to take them out of the pan and off the heat of the pan so they don't cook anymore. This allows them to cool off a little faster. And if your family's like mine, you'll want to make extra because people will be picking at them as soon as they smell them. They're not going to wait for dinner. And there you go. Homemade croutons, crispy, tasty, yummy.